David Montgomery.
Oh, boy.
The MCL, right? And it was doom and gloom when it was announced. And you saw it. You saw it on the field. He was down. People thought it was over. Heck, there were reports it was over for the season. But he's expected to be back. And I don't want to... I told everybody I was going to go grandiose media on you and say, is he risking his career? I'll rephrase it, Doc. What's the threat level to David Montgomery? And you don't know for the record, you're not there like in the room or anything, so I'm just giving you, I just want to guesstimate.
Kind of what I said right away the Monday after it happened. There's other things you can do. The MCL isn't like an ACL or a PCL, which is the internal holding everything in strong. The MCL is the ligament that's on the inside of the knee, crosses the joint, and holds stability with that lateral movement. It also, it has functional day-to-day, but it's not as functional as ACL. With a guy like Montgomery who's cutting a lot and changing directions a lot, it's important. Nobody on that team's going to jeopardize him. He's got to be, like we said, 0 pain, 90% better. Maybe for this game he's got to be at least north of 75, 80%. But as far as risking, he's out there risking every day. Every football game is a risk to these guys if they're going to, I don't want to be so doom and gloom, but they are. Is he at a higher level? That knee has a previous injury. So what have I always said? The number one risk factor for an injury is a previous injury. So he's sitting on one that's within a 6-month period. So it's still at risk. He's going to take all the precautions. He's going to be suited up. He's going to be braced. He's going to be taking caution. Is he going to be playing in that 9, 10, 11 gear? Maybe not right away, but he's going to feel how it's going. And like I said, they're going to watch him, right? Gibbs has been doing well. Everybody's been doing well. He could be a decoy, a threat, but I think having him out there, with Alex Angel, we underestimated what his return was. These guys are also resting. The rest of their body is feeling good, so that makes a difference. So, that knee, his strength, his cuts, his commitment to the training room, it's all there. I'm not worried to put him back on the field if he's passing our test, which I've said he's got to be at least 20%, if not better, in strength from one side to the other, right? So that's number one. So he's passed all those tests. Now it's the mental. Now it's game day. Can somebody cheap shot him and go after that knee or hit him? Yeah, he's at risk of that. That's going to be.
Doc, is there anything to read into it that they cleared him so early? You know what I mean? Like the fact of it's a week before, because usually, a lot of times it goes down, we won't hear till game time. We'll see how it is. Is this should we get more confidence in the fact that it came out earlier than I guess it needed to?
Yeah, they announced it as soon as we made the playoffs, right? That Montgomery will be there. Yeah, those are all good indicators. That means he's feeling good. That means he rested through the Minnesota game. We didn't need him technically. No, everything, when you're getting information early like that, yeah, those are all good indicators that he's feeling confident, that he's cutting, that he's not hesitant. And the other thing that we work, he's probably been worked out heavy, game-like workouts, and he's not swelling, right? Because we always worry about the swelling after, because that's the body just telling us what he can lie or he can mislead us. I felt great. But if you're having that swelling and irritation and the limp after, so he's got to be working through that too. So these guys know what they're doing. There's a lot of, his career is at stake. Like you said, nobody's going to risk it. Can he make it worse? Yeah. Being on the field, he can make it worse.
All right, Doc. And I guess, and the reason I asked this, and this is part of it too, when Anzalone came back, we heard about the pitch count, right? There's going to be a play count that right. He's going to play. Next thing you know, he's out there for 67 of the 68 plays or whatever it is. We all have a plan, right? We all have a plan when that game starts.
We're flexible.
Yeah, okay, so that's what. Oh, yeah, we're flexible. That's a flexible limit. No, but is there, I guess, and I know the answer to this question because Alex Anzalone is the answer to this question, but play counts are for when we're in pregame and we're talking about it for the week. Game situations may dictate otherwise, huh?
Game situations, that word of flexibility is key. We're going to see what he's doing. Like I said before, the medical team, the training team is watching him. Campbell and all those guys are watching the game. Campbell's like, you're on my team, you're 100%. the medical team's watching. Is he short stepping? Is he hesitant? Is he not planting that foot? Is he pushing off? Is he getting into play as quickly as he normally would? Is his first step the same? All that stuff factors in. When he comes off, when they're coming over and saying, there's two ways to approach it. Leave him alone and watch him from afar, or get in his face and say, what are you feeling? How's it going? Do you feel like you have everything? And some things will be like, even like with hockey, big time, I need that wrap a little tighter. I need something a little bit tighter. It's too tight. It's cutting me off. I'm too restricted. That brace I'm wearing, I'm not comfortable with it. There's a lot of feedback, which they're trying to do in game-ready situations off the field. But once it's in the field, you're out there, adrenaline's going, you get focused. Your head's in the game. You're locked in. So that's why the training staff and the docs on the sideline will be watching for all those kind of things.
Jason Kenyon in the Super Chat, get some Girl Scout cookies for the doc. My daughter's selling her Girl Scout cookies. We
What's
had it
your
up there.
favorite, Doc?
What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie, Doc?
The coconut chocolate one.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
yeah,
Team Samoa. I mean, there is
Wait,
there.
he doesn't
Samoas
even
are
call them
elite.
Samoas. He
Yeah.
calls them coconut chocolates. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
Everyone knows what he's talking about, though.
I
It's a
know.
brand
I got-
name, D-Mac.
It is a brand name.
I'm not here to advertise for Girl Scouts.
so Doc, I got a question. Is this
sir.
Isn't this Super Bowl week for like one of them for the training staff, like getting guys ready for the bye week and stuff like this? And, like, people don't understand. They think that they have a few days off and stuff like this, but that medical room is working overtime.
They are. I mean, there's never enough credit. We watched the Red Wing guys, firsthand. We were with them the whole time. Those guys are there. Nobody realizes the hardest working guys are the trainers.
100%.
And the trainers' assistants. And the docs, we even get to mosey in and out. But the trainers are there hours before, hours after, taking phone calls, taking that quiet need from one player. I mean, they're on 150% right now. And they're doing an excellent job to get us to this level with the amount of injuries. There's not enough to be said. And I kind of get, I listen to ESPN and all this stuff. Nobody's given the medical staff enough credit. It's Dan Campbell.
No, Doc, and 100% right.
I mean,
right?
I'm biased, obviously.
No, but you are right, because Doc, like, I travel with a Division I basketball team. I
Yeah.
travel with the Pistons, with the NBA. The common sports fan has
no clue.
no idea. It is, guys, when we're on the road, it's the trainer ready 24/7.
Well,
24/7. They got to take care of everything that pops up in real time, because they got to be able to play. They have to.
Here's the thing: they may have you nailed that 24/7 because and in hockey it's different because in football you don't travel, you accept the day before. But I mean the treatments, if you're playing hockey and you're on the road for those 2 games, I mean it's a mass unit. But the trainer's at your room.
Yeah.
If you need a treatment at 3 a.m, boom, you give him the keys, open the door, waking you up, gives you a treatment. Like, these guys are so dedicated, and I think at the end of the day, after all is said and done, you will hear, because you will hear, and especially when you win championships, and when you are great teams, it will slowly but surely come out, because each guy has a guy. Right,
Yep.
like that
Your
you go
preferred
to,
guy,
right?
yeah.
And in the football locker room, there's probably like a dozen or 15.
Yeah, there's a
but
lot
there's
of
one
guys.
guy that you'll have, a bond with that will push you and sort of be your therapist at time. I think, Spenny, this is one of the things that we forget. What about the guys? We're thinking about Hutch coming back and all the other, but we saw a video of Malcolm starting to do some walking and in and out and stuff like that. Well, there's got to be a guy with him the whole time through his rehab and stuff like this, and a lot of guys that are so shout out to the training staff, the equipment guys, the training guys, to whatever else, because they are definitely the unsung heroes.
It's true. I mean, you got the player that wants to be up at 4 in the morning, and you got the player that wants to be out at 4 in the morning. All those players, these guys are true 24/7. They don't get to say, look, I'm only available from 7 to 9 a.m. before we start. They're there for everything. And, right now with the Lions, I think they're bringing in more people because these guys can't take care of all the needs of everyone. So there is a lot of that special person being available to the players all the time. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're going with that.
Dr. Pierce joining us here, our Injury Insider, courtesy of the Michigan Sports and Spine Center, also powered by MRI of Southfield. And, Doc, here's a question from someone in the chat, and the way it's phrased, I don't think it's fair to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it. Well, I'm going to ask it, but I'm going to put the proper spin on it, okay? M-Pry says, question, why would 2 doctors not clear him and it took a third to clear him and not shut him down for the season? Were they wrong? And you're not a part of it, so I'm not going to ask you to comment on that. However, I'm sure you have been in situations in sports in the past where there are differing of opinions between doctors. What's that process like?
Difficult. It's the higher ranking. It's the who builds confidence. I mean, you know, the way I started with the Red Wings is the guy on the outside. So and it's our training. It's everything. I don't know where you want to go with this answer, but you know, you had a surgical opinion. It was a premature opinion. I think someone jumped the gun, and I think everybody took a deep breath and said, let's evaluate this at a holistic approach. What can we do? What can we expect? We had nothing to lose, but he didn't make it back to the game, and we got to see what happens. You know, I'm hoping for an Angeloni situation. Mm-hmm. I think Montgomery's going to be there. I think he's going to have limited snaps, but you know, I guess time will tell who's going to be right and wrong. At this point, that surgeon who suggested surgery has probably got a little chip on his shoulder. I'm right. Let's see what happens. And the guys like me that are non-surgical saying, we have a few steps before we shut them down. And there's no so there's difference of opinions. There's different approaches, you know, not to throw Michigan Sports and Spine in there, but that's where I've made my career on making the other decisions.
Right.
You know, that's where we've had difficulty. That's where I just had somebody who very high level, who's the actual physician, not to go off on one of my stories, but she's a physician in a different field and has been told by 4 other doctors probably the wrong information over 5 years that hasn't got her to complete recovery because she was going for a more surgical opinion. It's like, you know, when you carry a hammer, you're looking for nails. You got, like, for me, I've always carried multiple tools.
Multiple tools, yeah.
To be able to evaluate and know where my lane is. And when I want the surgeon, like when we dealt with the guys, we called in the surgeon, but we didn't call him in prematurely. Like, when you really break down the numbers, not to get away from the Lions for a second, but when you look at sports medicine injuries, over 90% of them are non-surgical. But the first person people tend to go see is an orthopedic surgeon. So
that honestly, like, to Doc's credit, whatever, to what he's saying, it's about options. What are all the options to exhaust? And then when we don't, we can't go any further, and it's a structural thing or whatever, then he's going to recommend who's the best person. But a lot of the times what you see is there's all these different, from sauces to different ways to do it. Let's explore this because the option is you can get back. You go under the knife, you're done, right? That, like, you're calling it over. Yeah. So I think that it's also, too, in this situation, having a little bit of time where you didn't have to make that huge decision and let the athlete. You always said this, too. I got to get to know your body, and I got to get to know how you recover, because some guys recover better. I got to get to know, like, are you a liar? Do I got to look at your body and you're never going to tell me, like, no, but I'll just watch and see if your body swells up?
He's describing himself right now, by the way.
Right, but it's true, right? So, or it's like you have to trust, because then it's Doc knows too when you're dealing with is that, like, for me, I'm gonna do everything in my power to be out there. So how can he put me in the best possible position? Because there's not a question of whether I'm gonna play or not. How do you make me comfortable enough? How do you let's work on this, let's work on that. Like, you know, a lot of different things. So. Well, it's number one thing, it's the option.
It's the option, and don't underestimate what he's saying either. Understanding who you're talking to, right? There's a mental capacity. You know, there's a lot of NFL examples we can talk about. But when we're talking about the Lions, every one of them wants to be playing. When I was dealing with the Red Wings, every one of them wants to play. How many times did you hear upper body injuries, lower body injuries, all this stuff? And then we had 5 or 6 surgeries within 2 weeks after the season was over. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you're going to hear about with the Lions too. We have that mentality. We have that go to work mentality and deal with it after. And Montgomery is king of it. Alex, I mean, all of them. I can't remember every one of their names right now, but for the big guy Hutch, that's the same kind of thing. I mean, where's he going to be? Who's going to be out there, fighting for it with what they have left? And the other big thing is what I brought up before with Angeloni. His body was feeling good, and he was quicker, and he's everything. Montgomery's going to have part of that too. So the rest of his body's feeling 100%. His knees hopefully at 80%. You put that combination together with the brace and the secret sauce, he's going to be impactful against Washington on Saturday. So I have a lot of confidence. I'm going with a lot of confidence here.
All right, Doc. Well, as always, we appreciate the insight.
We got to talk
Appreciate the time.
about.
What do you got?
Oh, Spence, you got the Josh Allen thing?
Yeah, I got it.
To play. Did you hear about this?
No, I did not. I can't wait, though.
Medical is not just bones and fractures and stuff. We got to do, manicuring on the sideline. I don't know if you saw the injury.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did.
With this. So this is why I suggest to all the players, keep your nails well groomed so it doesn't become an issue on the sideline. But, I mean, that's the training staff. They're ready for it. They had a file, able to do a manicure on the sideline for Josh Allen. So.
Yeah, and a great job by the coaching staff having them out there when they're up by 19 points with 6 minutes to go.
I don't know those decision makers.
Yeah,
but,
a great decision.
Sports
More
fans,
reps,
don't miss out on expert sports
I don't either.
injury insight with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and Thursdays during Ermanni and Edwards, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that I trust. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.